Well, let's get right into this. Everyone, I've got a co-host with me. He's a friend and he's a director of tech for Tristan and Associates out here in SoCal. He's in Denver though. It's Trenton Bodine. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good. How are you? Feeling better?
Good, man. Yeah, good, man. Good. And Elena Kee, for those of you who don't know her, which you probably do, you can always visit her on her site. She just put her link up there, Key Technology. If you're looking to set up Follow-Up Boss right from the very beginning, or you're like, I need help, she's the one to go to. And yes, Jacqueline, we all love Elena. So Elena does an amazing job. And today we're going to be talking about AI, 10 AI websites that we all need to, or tools that we all need to visit or at least know about. Elena, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing exactly what you're saying. There's a lot of hype today in AI, so I thought, what better time to talk about AI than today? So if you've been living under a rock, this is the only way you haven't heard about AI, especially ChatGPT and version 3. So there's been a lot of tools released and there's a lot of noise out there. So I hope you can take at least one tool away from these 10 that you can start using today. So if you're okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen and show the different slides as we're talking.
Yeah, let's make it happen. And if we don't get through all 10, which we were talking about might not, we can do a part 2 to this.
So top 10 AI tools to help boost your creativity and productivity, specifically for real estate agents. So I'll go right into it so we have as much time as possible. Some of these tools will be free and some of them will be paid for, and I've notated that in this guide. So the first one is free. It's called Compose AI. It's a Chrome extension that you can use. I personally use it in my Gmail account. I'm not sure if it works with others, but I use it. So there's a few use cases for Compose AI. First one is quickly replying to someone's question, and it will write a yes or no response within the context of the original question. So there will be quick toggles to say yes or say no. But it won't just say yes or no. It would say, oh, thank you for your interest. I'm not available today at 12, but can you chat tomorrow at 1? Another use case is autocomplete. So if you're familiar with autocomplete already in iMessage or you're texting or Gmail, sometimes it's good. A lot of times it's not. It's just kind of wacky. So let's go about Compose, which you can see right here is it will suggest phrases of what to say next. And I found when I first added Compose AI, it wasn't very great. It didn't know who I was. It didn't know a lot about common conversations I had with people. So it was just way out there on their suggestions. But as I continued using Gmail with the extension installed, it continued to learn my voice, and it will continue to do so and get better at the suggested phrases and autocompletes. And then the other use case is a Compose Now, which is what this is. So if, for instance, Lindsay had said, are you available to chat today at 12? I can say, tell Lindsay no nicely, but I can talk tomorrow at 1. It's going to write an email response that sounds professional. So really cool tool there.
Good. I love.
Yeah.
Elena, I think in real estate, what happens is when we respond so quickly to some things, sometimes we're right in the middle of it and we're so rushed. We're like, no. And then it comes across so mean on email.
Yes.
So I love this one. This is really good. Thank you.
Yeah, I struggle with that a lot. I know what the answer is. I'm just going to put it in there, but then it comes across harsh and I need to, per se, fluff it up a little bit. So they claim that it cuts your time by 40%. I think I'll see that as I continue using it and it gets better.
What do you use to talk to your computer? What do you use, Elena? What app is the software built in? What do you use?
You mean just for my microphone?
Not mic, like for the Mac. I know that it has a built-in feature for speech to text, right? We just have to turn it on. Do you use anything like that?
I do not use speech to text.
Okay, got it. I think that's what Imran was talking about.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. But there is a cool speech tool on this list, so you might find that interesting. I'll get to that in a second. So the next one is actually 2 tools, and you can research both and figure out which one's best for you. I've personally researched and used one, but not the other. So the first one is called Fireflies.ai and the other one is called Jamie. So they both do essentially the same thing. I first heard about Fireflies when I was on a call with Barry Jenkins. I saw Fireflies was another attendee and I thought that's just like a virtual assistant company. But then after I did a webinar with Stacy and the Mod Squad, shout out to the Mod Squad of the Follow Boss Success community, I saw that it's actually AI. So there are really cool use cases for this if you're doing Zoom calls with your clients. What Fireflies or Jamie does is they listen in on your entire Zoom, so there's another attendee. They automatically record the call and transcribe all of the meeting notes. But what's really cool about it is it creates an automatic summary of the call. So that's going to cut down your time to recreate a recap email to the client to say, oh, here are the next steps. Here's a summary of what we talked about. It's going to automatically create that summary for you. I wouldn't take it as is. I have noticed that's great. It's going to catch a lot of the important things that you talked about. But if you get really granular with a client where you know that's really important, but the AI predictions don't necessarily know that that's important, I'd still recommend reading the summary and adding in final tweaks to it before you send out a recap using their summary. And then the other cool thing they released a couple weeks ago is AI-powered search. So you can see that here and here. So since you are recording everything within Fireflies, you can search all transcripts for a previous call. So let's say you're listing a home for sale in a specific neighborhood, and you remembered several weeks ago you talked to a client who was looking for a house in that exact neighborhood. But you can't remember who it was that you talked to. You can't remember when it was. You didn't have a chance to put it in notes in Follow Boss, so you have no way to search for it. What's cool is you can search that neighborhood name or other key details you remember from that conversation, and it's going to search all transcripts of every call that's ever been recorded and find that conversation and who it was with. So you say, oh, I remember it was Janice. I'm going to reach out to Janice and let her know that this listing is coming live and it's the neighborhood she wants.
So we've tested both out, Fireflies and Otter. And Fireflies is slightly better for those of you wondering, because I know Otter AI is one that a lot of people use as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jamie's a new one. Didn't have a chance to look at that one, but
me either. I tested that one out.
Yeah. Cool. Next one. This one was originally created for either freelancers trying to track their time for billing or for employers to keep your employees accountable. But a use case for realtors is to keep your own self accountable. So you can see on the screenshot that TimeBro logs everything you do on your computer. So you can keep yourself accountable and really see what you did that day. It tracks both offline and online activity. So if you have Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, it logs that you were working on a contract for an hour, and then you were in a Zoom meeting for 30 minutes, and then you worked on this email for 45 minutes. But what's cool is, let's say you opened up like this Excel workbook and you intended to start working on it, but then you left the computer. It's going to record that you were absent so that you know, I didn't really work on this for an hour. I worked on it for 15 minutes and then I left. And so I really wasn't as productive as I thought. Or if you're a little bit like me and you get distracted and you might open up YouTube or Netflix, that's going to show on this time here and see, oh, I may not be as productive as I thought I was. So this is probably not a long-term thing you would use, but if you find yourself struggling with keeping yourself accountable or getting things done, this might be a really good eye-opener to see whether or not you actually are doing what you think you're doing.
That's a good one to test out for a week and see, okay, what can I improve on? I like this.
Yeah. And it's all private. So I know in this day and age, people are really worried about their data being private. Everything is stored locally on your computer. It's not in the cloud. So it's all private to you.
Nice.
I think that's great too if you even have like an ISA team or even other real estate agents that you're, trying to hold accountable or things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
True.
So this one is called Yoodly, and it's a paid-for service. You can consider this your own personal speech coach, except it's AI. So what's really cool is it listens in on a Zoom call, just like something like Fireflies would do. But after the call, it immediately gives you feedback. So it tells you your pacing, and you can determine whether or not you are talking too fast. I've also seen it will tell you how much you talked versus the client talked, whether you interrupted the client, if you used, or what top keywords you used, if you used filler words. That's something you can totally not be aware of. If you say a bunch of ums or likes, it literally counts out, you said 5 times and 4 times. And the top keywords of what you most talked about, and other things of being inclusive and make sure you're not saying anything that's, not politically correct. So this is a judgment-free feedback AI speech coach that gives you automatic feedback on your client calls, and you might find it helpful to improve your speech patterns and converting more clients from calls.
Or Trenton, all he needs is me, because I call him right after, and I'm like, Trenton, right off the bat. He hates me for that.
I only use it twice in my last. But this is another one, great one for like an ISA team or, real estate agents started me calling. I'm saying, of course, I just hear that right away. But yeah, I think it'd be great for that, just so you can kind of track what they're saying. I like the pacing as well, because that would allow for someone to extend the conversation or try to reach that 2 to 3 minute goal versus a quick 1 to 2 minute call.
Yeah, pacing is something I definitely struggle with. Just while we're talking now and I'm doing this, I'm trying to slow down and remembering that I'm trying to get through everything, but gotta talk in a normal speed. Cool. So let's go to the next one. This one's a free tool. So the past few I've shown you are paid, so I thought you might find it helpful to get a free one. This one's called Tome. The reason I think it's free and won't be free much longer is it's pretty much still in a beta test. It's a really cool tool, but there are still some kinks in it. With that said, it's still super helpful. So what Tome is, it's a presentation creator that will create an entire presentation for you based on a single prompt. So some use cases of different guides or presentations you can make are on the screen using Tome, and then I'll show you a screen share in a second. So some use cases are helping you create a home buying or selling guide, creating a presentation, creating neighborhood guides, a marketing presentation, creating market updates, creating a home staging guide, a why your listing expired guide, FSBO versus realtor guide. So I'm going to switch over and show you a screen recording I did with Tome. I pulled up the prompter and I said, create a neighborhood guide, San Francisco, things to do, facts about the market, facts about the area, and that's it. This screen recording's in real time. It's not sped up. It's really making all of those slides that quickly with the content, and it's auto-generating images with Dolly on the side. You definitely don't want to take it as is and just say, okay, done. That's my presentation. That's my neighborhood guide, because it's really not going to get really in-depth. But talk about getting past writer's block and creating something you can build off of.
I love this. This is one of our favorites, Elena. Trenton, how have you modified to use this one over the last 2 months?
Yeah, I really like to use the outline format that it has, because it will kick out this exact same type of thing, but instead of writing like specific points on each one, it's just going to give you 3 to 5 topics to talk about that thing. So let's say it's living in a specific city, so you can get a guide for that. You could then break it down to, okay, well, here's how you can explore outdoor things. Here's different entertainment options. Here's or if you're going with the overview of it, might be of the history or the culture or what it's like living there. And then you can take that and then start to build different guides from just those prompts.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't seen that outline part. I'll need to look into that.
Yeah, this is awesome. I love this. Thank you.
I love Tome. It's a great starting point for someone that might, like you mentioned, the writer's block.
Yeah, absolutely. The image creator can be a little wonky because it's just guessing at the type of image you want with Dolly, but you can certainly switch it out.
Nice.
This one I'm not going to spend too much time on. This is the one everyone knows about. If you don't, it's because you're under a rock. ChatGPT. So if you don't know what ChatGPT is, it's a two-way communication chat with an AI. where you can ask it almost anything and then build upon that request and tweak it. So I've included some use cases for ChatGPT. I got some of these ideas from the Follow Boss Success community I posted in the group a couple weeks ago. Shout out to them. If you're not a part of that group, definitely join it on Facebook. So some examples are, give me 20 ideas for articles or videos about selling a home. Or let's say you're a solo agent or a team who won an award for being the #1 team in your company. So you can say, write a press release for that real estate agent. Or the most common one people have been hearing about is write a listing description about a home with XYZ features. Write a YouTube video script for the pros and cons of renting versus buying. Or I love this one, kind of going back to what we used Compose AI for. Sometimes I just go directly to ChatGPT, make this email sound more professional or sound nicer or fluff this up. So what I'll do is I'll copy the client's question. I'll copy my response, which is really short. And then I'll say, make it sound more professional, fluff it up, make it sound nicer, or sometimes make it sound less apologetic, because sometimes I have a tendency to say sorry too much in an email if someone's upset about something. So I'll show you a quick screen recording of a use case. I'm saying respond to a home seller who's upset their home hasn't sold. Explain may need to do a new market analysis because I know the home was never priced correctly. Mention they may need to consider doing those repairs they refused to do when I listed with them, and consider staging that they also refused to do because they thought they could get 2022 prices in 2023 market. So from that little prompt, it's creating an email directly to the seller, showing empathy, saying, I understand it's frustrating. I want to assure you I'm committed to finding the right buyer at the best possible price. And then it talks about the market analysis. It talks about adjusting the price, doing repairs to increase appeal to buyers. And then I'm happy to discuss these options with you. And then I realized, oh, I forgot to add in, may want to consider doing Matterport or video tour or open house. So then I say, add that into the email. So then ChatGPT rewrites that same email, shortens what it already wrote to accommodate the new points that I want to add to that email. So it's really cool, fun tool to play with. You can even use it to make children's stories if you're bored for bedtime stories. So ChatGPT is a really cool tool.
And I love how you can manipulate it. Like if you're not a fan of what it picks out, you can say, like you kind of mentioned, make it more professional or make it more catchy or engaging or less boring. And it's also nice that you don't have to rewrite every single prompt either, because it saves kind of the entire conversation and it continues to build off of that.
Yeah, and the history that they added a month ago or so of being able to find previous chats is a game changer too, because you can come back to it later if you have another thought about what you originally were working on. Well, so this next one is called Originality.ai. I heard about this one through, most people know him as Keeley. His name is Aaron Franklin. He's part of YLobo, and he was talking about potential warnings and consequences of using AI. You definitely don't want to take what ChatGPT has written or anything else and just copy and paste it into your website, a blog post, take it word for word for email. One, it does still sound clunky. It's really smart, but it doesn't always sound like a real human being. And there are tools out there that are trying to combat AI. Google is trying this a lot with blog posts. Sometimes you'll even see disclaimers on a Google search saying this was generated using artificial intelligence, and there's a little banner underneath that blog post. So to help combat that, you can use something like Originality.ai. First, I recommend tweaking what you get and writing it in your own voice, but then also using Originality.ai to be a double check to make sure it's not detectable as AI. I will say last studies I saw say that it's only 30% accurate at detecting AI, like Google or tools out there, but you want to stay ahead of the game and don't take advantage of that and get lazy. And then once it is better at detecting AI, get hurt on SEO and get pinged. So definitely check out Originality.ai to prevent yourself from getting hurt there.
I love that.
Cool. Yeah. So next one is not one that's released yet, so I cannot say if it is all it say it is, but I'm crossing my fingers it is. I've been waitlisted for a few months now. It's called Text.com. It will be a paid-for app. It's what you will hope and dream, and that is an all-in-one messaging app. So on the bottom of this slide are supposed to be all of the apps that are going to be compatible with this all-in-one messenger. So whether you receive a message on your iMessage, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Twitter, Instagram DMs, they're all going to be in this one app here. And what I love about what they say it will do is you can archive chats and achieve inbox zero. So for those of you who don't know what inbox zero is, it's essentially making any of your emails or messaging platforms as a to-do list versus just a forever, never-ending list of emails since the beginning of time. So I'm a huge fan of archiving, or if you're a follow boss user, clicking the close button. So you only keep emails or texts in there that still need your attention, but the ones you're done with, you archive. So you can do that with this. You can archive Facebook messages, archive DMs, versus just having a never-ending list of messages, which is how it is right now on Facebook Messenger. And what's really cool is you can search all messages across the board, especially if you're getting messages from all these different platforms. You don't remember who it was you talked to. You don't even remember where they messaged you, but someone messaged you about this one specific thing. You got to find it. And you can do that here. Another cool tool is Snooze. So if you get a Facebook message you can't get to right now, but you know you need to get to it later, you don't want it to get lost in your infinite messages, you can snooze it to remind you later, just like you can do with Slack, where you say remind me later, and it will notify you at that intended time to remind you to get to that message. And then the last cool thing it's supposed to do is be able to send later. So let's say you're checking all of your messages late at night or early in the morning. You want to get all of them out of the way, but you don't want to message the client at 5 a.m. You can schedule your responses to go out at a decent time and then hit inbox zero and rest assured that your messages are taken care of.
I think that one's pretty neat just because you could miss messages easily, with the notifications off or not on your phone or versus desktop and things like that. So it's nice to kind of compile all. I'm kind of excited how that's going to work out.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that one. Next one is called Overdub. This is also a paid service. It's by a company called Descript. There are a few use cases for this one. The first is to fix a small mistake you made. So let's say you record a video, you spend a lot of time recording it, and in the middle of the video, you noticed, oh, I said something happened 20 years ago, but the real number is 35. Now I have to redo the whole video just to fix that one mistake. With Overdub, you don't have to. With that said, you do have to train it on your voice, and I think it's 45 minutes of training, which is kind of grueling, but then it's worth it because then you can fix these mistakes and not have to redo or re-edit an entire video just because you made one minor mistake. Or you can use one of their stock voices, which I'll get into in a second. So there are a couple of other use cases besides fixing a mistake. Another use case is for creating a voiceover. I think that they say do up to 10 minutes. I wouldn't do 10 minutes of a voiceover with using only Overdub. I'd probably keep it to 5 minutes. But a use case for this is, let's say you would love to do video tours of your listings. You just don't have the time or capacity to go there in person, set up a video shoot, do a whole ordeal where you're walking through a property. Instead, you could take a video recording that your videographer does of the walkthrough, and then you can create a voiceover over it, showcasing and talking about the features as the videographer is going through the house. And so you don't even have to record that physically. You could technically, after you train Overdub, type in what you want it to say, or even have your assistant type in what you want to say, or what it wants to say, and it will create a voiceover using your voice. So those are the two use cases. Or you can use stock voices. So if you don't like your voice, or you don't want to spend 45 minutes training it to create voiceovers, they have female and male stock voices to use instead, and you type in what you want them to say, Cool. This one is a paid for service called Structurally. This one is specifically made for real estate agents, and it's built on ChatGPT framework. It has a direct integration with Follow Boss they recently released. It's an AI assistant that will reach out to your leads on your behalf. And once the lead responds, it will carry on a two-way conversation and help you qualify that lead. So highly recommend if you're looking to offload work, you do online lead gen as a realtor, check out Structurally for offloading a lot of that two-way communication with an initial new lead. You can use promo code KeyTech if you're new to Structurally, and you would receive $100 off your first billing cycle. And shameless plug, we just released this partnership with Structurally with our text messages. So you would not only get $100 off, but then also receive the text we wrote for Structurally at no extra cost when you sign up for Structurally. And then last but not least, we somehow made it, is Rev.com. This is not AI. This is the only non-AI, and I prefer this one over AI options. So in today's day and age of needing to create videos for all of the platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, you probably noticed this yourself. You'll scroll a lot in places where you can't have volume. You'll scroll in a waiting room at a doctor's office. You'll scroll on a bus, on a train. And if you don't know what the person is saying, if there's someone speaking, you're just going to scroll past it. So the same thing's going to happen to you if you're spending a lot of time creating content, but then not putting captions on it. And people aren't watching with any audio. They're going to skip past your video and not watch it. So I use Rev personally and love it. I prefer it because it takes less than an hour to get back a 3-minute video, and I paid $3 for it. And what's cool is you can create a glossary of terms. So as a realtor, or for me in my business, I use words that aren't necessarily known to the common person. Like I'll use the words Follow Boss or CRM or Structurally. And if someone is captioning a video, they don't know anything about me, they need some sort of glossary of terms that aren't necessarily known to most people. That way I don't have to go back and say, oh, oops, sorry, that's not really commonly known word. This is what I was talking about. So $3 video for 3 minutes, and I got it back within an hour. And then you can either upload the caption file and the video file to Facebook or YouTube or whatever, or you can combine them together. And I use Happy Spread for that. And then one cool thing they just released, which I have not tried yet, is live captions for Zoom calls. And that's what this screenshot is showing here. Is it's supposed to be able to live caption what everyone is saying in real time during a Zoom call.
I love the live captioning. That's great. People will just kind of follow along, especially if you're, in a public place or something and you can't necessarily hear it if you've got your headphones or something.
Yeah, it kind of coincides with needing to caption recorded videos. Also, there's a need to do it for live videos who people want to watch a Zoom call, but they can't listen to audio.
Yeah,
this is a really good one. I was looking at other possible ones. I'll send you some other ones we've got, Elena, as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll check them out. So I wanted to source where I got some of these ideas and tools from. Plus, I highly recommend you follow these 3. The first one is called TLDR. They are an email newsletter, and they send bite-sized, pun intended, news for techies. It was originally created for software developers, but I love it because it talks about startups, tech, innovations, science, space, all things to stay on top of the latest and greatest. I love it. So it gives you little blurbs, but you can always expand and open the article they're linking to. The second one is the Chrysalis. This is also an email newsletter that talks about AI and innovation with through the lens of a real estate agent. And what's funny is, as I was working on this and just finishing up this presentation, he released an ebook of, I think it's 40 AI tools. So if you want more, you're hungry for more, 10 isn't enough, download his guide. He's got 40. Yeah. And then the last one is a YouTube channel, The Brett Way. He considers himself a futurist. He loves new technologies. Some of his videos are geared towards using those technologies to make income, which may or may not interest you if you're already working full-time as an agent. But his videos about new tools out there are really great. He's how I found out about text.com. So highly recommend you follow all three of these.
Nice. I like that, Elena. Thank you for that. That rocked. I'm going to quickly share something with you guys since we're on this. We put together a tool. I just put it in there. We created it about a month ago. It's giving you all of the tools we're using: 3D, art, avatars, copywriting, code assistant, design assistant, education assistant, developer tools, email assistant, customer support, and audio editing. Take a look at that one. I just put it into the chat, and this is like the topic we've been diving into deeply. So wonderful listening to you, Elena. I got 3 that I haven't used yet. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for having me. Appreciate you having me today.